Yo, what's going on, guys? Buzz White Guys here again. I'm Ryzen. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys my domain Monarch deck. This deck is probably going to get hit in the upcoming July 2016 ban list. So that's why I'm going to go ahead and do a deck profile on it while I have it now. This deck does extremely well. At my locals in Paradise Games in Monarch, North Carolina, I use this deck and it does pretty decently. It struggles against like Cosmo and stuff like that, but this deck is really good. A lot of people have went over to the extra deck Monarch side. I still like Domain because I like putting your opponent into a lock. So this deck does that extremely well. So let's go ahead and get started with this deck profile. At the end of the video, I'm going to be doing a prediction on what cards I think in this deck are going to get hit in the ban list. If they do, which I'm sure they will, this deck is really good. So I'm going to say that towards the end of the video. But let's go ahead and get started with this deck profile. I'm not going to go into these cards too much in detail because this deck has been out for a very long time. If you don't know what the cards do, you can look them up. I'm just going to touch very lightly on them. So the very first thing I run is, of course, the 3 Aether. Extremely good card. Dump 2 Monarch Spell Trap cards from your deck or from your hand. Then you special summon a Monarch card from your deck. Also, as a secondary effect, you can combo with Stormforth to actually tribute on your opponent's turn, tribute one of their monsters. Next, I run the 3 Erebus, another staple card in this deck. Same thing, you dump 2 Monarch Spell Trap cards from your deck or your hand, and then you get to shuffle back one of your opponent's cards. Next, I run one Thestalos, the Mega Monarch. I actually really enjoy this card. If you open up to this card first turn and you tribute summon them, you can look at your opponent's hand and choose a card to discard. So this is a really good card to open up on first turn to see what your opponent's going to be throwing against you. Next, I run one Karaz. I like to run this card at 2, but I don't know if I like it, to be honest. I would definitely run one of these cards 2 if you can, no more than 2 because I found 3 to be really bricky, but this card's extremely good. You can blow up 2 cards on the field and the owners of those cards draw a card. Next, I run the 2 Majesty's Fiend. Extremely good card to put your opponent in a lock. Pretty much monster effects cannot be activated when this card's out, so extremely good card. And that'll do it for the bigger attributed cards. Next, for the smaller ones, of course, I run 3 Adea, another staple card in this deck. This card is what's going to get out your Eidos. This card is going to start your main combo to distribute summon to get your Monarchs out. It also has the effect that when it sits to the graveyard, you can target one of your banished cards and add it back to your hand. Next, I run 2 Eidos. I only run 2 of these because it is searchable with, I forgot his name, Adea, my bad, forgot the name of that card. And I only run 2 because it is searchable, but when this card's summoned, you pretty much get another normal summon that turn, and so you contribute, and then you can banish this card from the graveyard and then get another one of the smaller ones out. Next, I run a really awesome card, 1 Mithra. You can do a lot of good combos with this card. You can special summon it from the hand, and then you put a token on your opponent's side of the field. And when this card is targeted for a tribute summon, you also get another normal summon that turn. So you can combo this to pretty much get 2 tribute summons a turn. So extremely well card. The next 2 cards I have, I really don't know why I have them in this deck, but this is the 2 cards that I will side out of my deck. The only 2 cards are these next 2 cards I'll side out of my deck. I would like to have, 2 Max Seas, but I have 2 Flying Seas. What this card does is that you can special summon it on your opponent's main phase when they summon a monster, and then your opponent cannot XYZ summon. The only reason why I have these in my deck right now is because at my locals in Mount Airy, North Carolina, a lot of people run PK Fire, so this will stop them, but most of the time I'd rather like to have a Max C or 2 Effect Veilers in here, but these are the only 2 cards that I'll side out of this deck to put in like Max C's or Effect Veilers. So that'll be it for the monsters. Next, of course, this is what makes this deck good and what gives it the title of the deck. I run 3 Domain. You have to run 3 of this card. This card is what puts your opponent into a lock. If you don't know what this card does, then you need to look it up because I'm not going to go over it because everyone knows what this card does. Next, I run 3 Pantheism, of course. Pantheism is an awesome draw power card. You can activate its first effect as many times as you want to, and then you can activate its second effect once per turn. Really, really broken card. You can just do some awesome combos with this card. It pretty much gets any card out of your deck that you want. Next, I run 3 Tenacity, another search card. You just reveal a Monarch card in your hand, and then boom, there you go. Any card out of your deck that you want, that's a Monarch card. Next, 3 Stormforth. This card allows you to use one of your opponent's monsters as a tribute summon. So you can use this card alongside Aether, and then you can tribute on your opponent's turn and use one of their monsters. A really good card. Next, I run 1 Frost Blast of the Monarchs. Extremely good card. This is literally like an optional card. I really enjoy this card. I wouldn't mind running 2 of it actually, but you can pretty much destroy one of your opponent's set cards, and then you can banish it out of the grave to destroy another one of your opponent's set cards. So it's kind of like a twin twister or something in that matter. Next, I run 1 March. I don't really like to run more than one of these because it is searchable with Tenacity, but this protects your Monarchs from card effects. 1 Return. Another card that I would like to run 2 of if I had the room in the deck. This pretty much gets out another one of your Monarch cards from your deck to your hand when you tribute summon. So a really good card. Definitely run 1. No more than 2 because it is get cloggy at 3. And that's it for the Monarch spell cards. And then for the regular spell cards, I run 1 Foolish Burial, 1 Twin Twister, and then 1 1-for-1. 1-for-1's a good card. I like to run more than one of these, but it is limited to 1. But these cards are really good for this deck. So that's it for the spell cards. I don't run a lot of traps in this deck. I run 2 of the Prime Monarchs, a really good card in this deck. You can banish 1 Monarch spell trap card while this card's in the graveyard. Then you can special summon it as a monster to your side of the field, and then you can tribute someone off of it. I don't really use this first effect that much because I usually dump this card into the graveyard whenever I tribute summon one of the bigger Monarch cards. And next I run 1 Vane's Emptiness and then 1 Solemn Warning. These 2 cards I would like to take out of the deck. I just have them in here because of the fact that they're staple trap cards, and they really help at my locals for some of the bigger decks that give this deck a run for its money. But I would actually like to take these cards out, and yeah, that's it for the trap cards. Alright guys, so for the cards that I think that are going to get hit in the upcoming ban list are, of course, Pantheism and Tenacity. These 2 cards are just what make the deck so good because you have the search ability of Tenacity and the draw power and the search ability of Pantheism. I feel like both these cards are going to go to 1. With Pantheism, I feel like if they keep it at 3, they need to change the card text to where you can only activate the draw part of it once per turn, and then you have to choose between the draw and the graveyard effect. So they should make it to where you can only use one of those effects once per turn. I feel like that would really balance the card, and they keep it at 3, but they'll probably just limit this card to 1. A lot of people want Domain to be limited or banned. It is limited to 1 in the OCG. I don't think they'll hit it here, just for the simple fact that they'll probably limit these to 1, because without these, Domain is not that big of a threat, because Pantheism and Tenacity is really the main way to get Domain out of your deck if you don't draw it first turn. So if they limit Pantheism and Tenacity, Domain will stay at 3, because then it won't be as big of a threat, because then you'll have to either draw it or pray to God that you can draw Pantheism and Tenacity your first turn to get it out of your deck. The next card is Stormforth. I feel like it'll be in the same boat as Domain. It's not that big of a threat without Pantheism and Tenacity, just for the simple fact that it's so easily searched out of your deck with these 2 cards. So if they leave this, at 3 and Domain to 3, and if they just limit Pantheism Tenacity, then the deck will still be decent. Not as good as it once was, but it'll still be decent and you can still use it. It's just that you'll have a harder time getting the cards out of your deck. So Storm Force will stay at 3, Domain will stay at 3, Pantheism Tenacity will be limited to 1. That's just my opinion, that's just my prediction. Leave your opinion down in the comment section. Don't try to just bash on anybody because of their opinion. I just want to hear what your opinion is on which cards out of the Monarch deck that you think will be limited and or banned. Alright guys, hopefully you enjoyed this video and this deck profile. Please take advantage of this deck while you can. It's an extremely good deck. It's really fun to play. It probably will get hit on the ban list that's upcoming, so please take advantage of this deck. Every single deck that we have on our channel right now will be updated when the ban list comes out. So if they stay the same, they stay the same, but they will be updated, including this deck. Even if it does get hit pretty hard, I'd like to see what happens with this deck when it gets hit. So yeah, stay tuned for that. We've been promising a Buster Blader deck profile for a really long time. We just haven't got around to making it because we're still testing it out. It's a very decent deck at best, but we'll be doing that after the ban list comes out. So make sure you check that out. So if you enjoyed this video, click like. If you haven't already, click subscribe to stay up to date with all of our Yu-Gi-Oh content. I'm Horizon, and remember, believe in the heart of the cards.